The airplane cabin was quiet in the way only airplanes ever were, never truly silent, just wrapped in a constant mechanical hum that made people believe nothing could go wrong. 35,000 feet above the earth. The world below reduced to clouds and invisible borders. Everyone on board shared the same recycled air, the same narrow aisles, the same illusion of equality. Or so it seemed. Marcus adjusted himself in his seat, rolling his shoulders back carefully, mindful not to bump the man sitting across the aisle. Economic class never left much room to breathe. He glanced at the window beside him, watching sunlight spill across the wing like it was trying to escape. Beside him, his wife Aisha flipped through a digital book on her tablet, though she hadn't turned a page in several minutes. "You good?" Marcus asked softly. Aisha nodded, though her jaw tightened slightly. "Yeah, just tired." They had boarded early, paid for their seats, followed every instruction, said please and thank you to every crew member who passed. They were doing everything right, the invisible checklist black travelers often carried without being taught. Across the aisle, laughter spilled from a group of passengers already sipping drinks. In the rows ahead, a white couple reclined comfortably, blankets tucked neatly over their legs. No one questioned their presence. No one asked if they belonged. A chime echoed through the cabin. A flight attendant appeared in the little blonde, uniform pressed sharply, her smile practiced but thin. Her name badge read Karen. She stopped abruptly at Marcus and Aisha's row. Her eyes lingered. Too long. She cleared her throat. "Excuse me." Marcus looked up, polite. "Yes, ma'am." Karen folded her arms. "Are you in the correct seats?" The question landed heavier than it should have. Marcus blinked. "Yes. These are 2 to B and 2 to C." Karen tilted her head, scanning them again. "May I see your boarding passes?" Aisha frowned slightly but reached into her bag. Marcus pulled his phone out, calmly, pulling up the digital passes. They handed them over. Karen studied them longer than necessary. Marcus noticed how passengers nearby began to look, how attention sharpened like knives, how silence stretched. "These seats are usually reserved," Karen said, "for economy passengers." Marcus replied evenly. Karen's lips pressed together. "Sir, there's no need for that tone." Aisha spoke up, her voice calm but firm. "We haven't used any tone." Karen's eyes snapped to her. "Ma'am, I'm speaking to your husband." Marcus felt something twist in his chest. "She can speak for herself." Karen inhaled sharply. "I need you both to cooperate. There have been issues." "What kind of issues?" Aisha asked. Karen lowered her voice, though it carried clearly. "Passengers feeling uncomfortable." Aisha stared at her. "Uncomfortable with what?" Karen didn't answer directly. Instead, she straightened. "I'm going to need you to move to the back of the cabin." Marcus shook his head. "We're not moving. These are our assigned seats." Karen's smile disappeared. "I make the rules on this aircraft," she said, louder now. Heads turned, phones subtly angled. The cabin felt smaller, tighter. A man across the aisle leaned forward. "They're not bothering anyone." Karen ignored him. "Sir," she snapped, pointing at Marcus, "your behavior is becoming aggressive." Marcus let out a slow breath, aggressive, asking why we're being singled out. Karen raised her voice. "You're not welcome here if you can't follow instructions." The words echoed. "Not welcome." At 35,000 feet, Aisha's eyes glistened, but her posture didn't break. "We followed every rule." "Why are you treating us like this?" Karen signaled toward the front. "Captain, I need assistance." A hush fell over the cabin. Moments later, the captain emerged, confusion etched across his face. "What's going on?" Karen spoke quickly. "These passengers are being disruptive, refusing to comply." Marcus looked at the captain. "Sir, all we did was sit in our assigned seats." The captain checked their passes, his brow furrowed. "They're correct seats," he said. Karen stiffened. "But other passengers?" The captain raised a hand. "I'll handle this." Karen stepped back, clearly irritated. The captain turned to Marcus and Aisha. "I apologize for the inconvenience." Inconvenience? A word too small for humiliation? Around them, murmurs rose. A woman to Rose's back wiped her eyes. A man shook his head. Someone whispered, "That wasn't right." Karen stood, frozen arms crossed, face tight. The captain spoke firmly now. "Karen, return to your duties." She hesitated. Captain, that's an order. Karen turned sharply and walked away. Marcus exhaled slowly, his hands shaking just enough for Aisha to notice. She reached for him, squeezing his fingers. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I hate that this still happens." Marcus swallowed. "I hate that we're expected to stay calm when we're being crushed." As the plane taxied forward, the cabin seemed changed. The illusion shattered. People looked at Marcus and Aisha differently, not with suspicion now, but awareness. Halfway through the flight, a different flight attendant approached them. Younger, softer eyes. "Can I get you something to drink?" she asked quietly. "Water's fine," Aisha said. The attendant nodded. "And I'm sorry," Aisha met her gaze. "Thank you." When the drinks arrived, a handwritten note sat on the tray. "You didn't deserve that. Thank you for your strength." Aisha blinked back tears. Marcus looked around the cabin one last time, at strangers who had witnessed something ugly, something real, something that followed them even above the clouds. Prejudice didn't need gravity. It traveled light, and as the plane descended toward its destination, Marcus realized something else too. They hadn't been silent. They hadn't moved. And sometimes, at 35,000 feet, that was resistance enough. The rest of the cabin tried to return to normal, but normal had shifted. Marcus could feel it in the air, the way conversations were quieter now, the way laughter felt forced, the way people kept glancing toward them and then quickly looking away, as if eye contact might demand accountability. The hum of the engines continued, steady and indifferent, but beneath it ran another sound: discomfort. Aisha stared out the window, watching clouds slide past like silent witnesses. Her reflection stared back at her in the glass, composed, dignified, tired. She had learned long ago how to hold herself together in public spaces that were never built with her in mind. "You okay?" Marcus asked again, softer this time. She nodded, then shook her head. "I don't know. I keep thinking, what if the captain hadn't stepped in?" Marcus didn't answer right away, because the truth sat heavy between them. They both knew the answer. Karen passed their row once more, pushing a beverage cart. She didn't look at them. Her spine was stiff, her movements sharp, like she was holding her anger together with pins. As she passed, Marcus noticed her hands were trembling not with fear, but with resentment. Power didn't like being challenged. Across the aisle, the man who had spoken up earlier leaned over slightly. "Hey," he said quietly, careful not to draw attention. "I just wanted to say, that wasn't right. I'm glad you stood your ground." Marcus nodded. "Thank you." The man hesitated. "I should have said something sooner." Marcus offered a small, tired smile. "You still said something that mattered more than people realized." Further back, a woman whispered to her teenage daughter, not quietly enough. "That's what discrimination looks like." The girl stared at Aisha openly, not with curiosity, but with recognition. Something was being learned in real time. Minutes passed, then more. When food service began, Karen deliberately skipped their row. Aisha noticed immediately. Marcus clenched his jaw. Another attendant caught it too, the younger one with the kind eyes. She paused, looked back toward Karen, then turned to Marcus and Aisha. "I'm so sorry," she whispered. "That wasn't supposed to happen." "It's fine," Marcus said, though it wasn't. She lowered her voice further. "I've reported it." Aisha looked up sharply. "You did?" The attendant nodded. "Well, she did. It wasn't okay. Not company policy. Not human." Aisha felt something crack open in her chest, not pain this time, but relief. The rare, fragile relief of being believed without having to beg. "Thank you," Aisha said. The attendant smiled sadly. "Enjoy the rest of your flight." As the hours passed, Marcus replayed the moment again, and again, the way Karen's voice had risen, the way the word aggressive had been thrown like a weapon, the way authority had been used not to protect, but to dominate. He thought of his father, who had taught him how to keep his hands visible, his voice calm, his words precise, survive first, dignity second. Marcus wondered how many times Aisha had swallowed moments like this without him there. How many flights, stores, offices, rooms where she had been made to feel like a guest instead of a citizen. The captain's voice crackled over the intercom. "We'll be beginning our descent shortly." A ripple of movement passed through the cabin. Seatbacks straightened. Bags were checked. Lives prepared to resume. Karen disappeared toward the front. When the wheels hit the runway, The impact jolted everyone slightly, a reminder that gravity still existed, that reality waited below. As passengers stood to retrieve their luggage, something unexpected happened. Applause started softly, two hands clapping somewhere behind them, then more, a few rows at first, then the entire middle section. Marcus froze. Aisha turned, eyes wide. People weren't clapping for the flight, they were clapping for them. Karen stood near the front, face flushed, staring straight ahead. Marcus felt heat rise to his eyes. He didn't bow, didn't wave. He simply stood, placed a hand on Aisha's back, and waited. As they exited the plane, the captain stood by the door. "I want to personally apologize again," he said quietly. "An official report has been filed." Aisha nodded. "Thank you for stepping in." The captain met her gaze. "Thank you for reminding us why it matters." In the terminal, the noise rushed back in rolling suitcases, overhead announcements, hurried footsteps. Life moved on quickly, as it always did. But Marcus knew something had shifted. Not for everyone, not forever, but for some. A young man stopped them near the gate. "Excuse me," he said nervously. "I recorded what happened. If you want, I can send it to you." Aisha hesitated. Marcus looked at her. She thought for a moment, then nodded. "Yes, please," because silence protected the wrong people. Later that night, in their hotel room, Aisha sat on the edge of the bed, phone glowing in her hands, notifications stacked endlessly. The video had spread, comments poured in, support, anger, denial, excuses. Marcus sat beside her. "You didn't ask for this," he said. Aisha leaned into him. "No, but maybe someone needed to see it." She thought of the girl on the plane, the attendant, the man who spoke up late but still spoke. Change never arrived all at once. Sometimes it boarded quietly, sometimes it was forced to sit through turbulence, and sometimes, at 35,000 feet, it reminded the world that dignity didn't have a seat assignment, it belonged everywhere.